Well, that, in fact, the first discovery, you say, what is significant about what I discovered is that they're the opposite of what we were thinking. That there was an old Seinfeld where George Costanza says, just do the opposite. And in a sense, you actually use that kind of a line here. It's the opposite. Because you say that we, and by the way, men have the same problem. We view each other as just opposites of what we are. So women view men as hairy women. Right. And explain how that plays off, because that leads to more uncovering and more discovery.
Well, a couple parts. One is in the ways that men are responding to women and the ways that men are not responding to women, they're the opposite of what women think. So in other words, the things we take personally, we shouldn't. It has nothing to do with us. And the things we don't take personally, we just think a guy's a jerk, he actually was responding to us. So it's men are reacting to us at the times when we think they're not. And they're not reacting to us at the times when we think they are. And it was just a shock to me, like thinking, a man is watching television and ignoring me, and if only I were different, he wouldn't be doing that. No, it doesn't matter how a woman is. A man watching television and ignoring her, well, actually isn't even ignoring her. He's just a single-focused man only watching television, and it has nothing to do with her. But women take it personally all the time. They think their husbands are watching television, ignoring them. Women think they're ignored all the time, but that's because women are capable of doing something and ignoring someone at the same time. That's what women do. It's not what men do. So that part of it being the opposite, and we really need to be careful about what we take personally and what we don't. I think that was really important. The other part that you were asking about, I forget what it was. There's just a second part you said.
Well, about the hairy women, about the being, just the opposite. In fact, it plays off on that, though, doesn't it? There's a correlation between that.
One of the reasons women take personally what they take personally is because they assume that a man is a type of woman. He's a hairy woman. He's a less couth woman, right? A less emotional woman. And I found the same to be true. Men are a bit more forgiving, but men interact with women as if we're a kind of man. We're a multitasking man. We're a scattered man. We're an emotionally indulgent man. And we're not. We're so much more different than that.
Well, when you begin to uncover this, and this is why I say it's so wonderful for men to read, because when you uncover the things, it gives a chance for men to see the good things about them as well. And one of them that really stands out is this: men and their motivation. That, by the way, is another element so different between what motivates us. Yes. And as you say, most men are motivated by duty, obligation, and honor. And if not, that's when you shouldn't trust them.
That's why I got so excited. The more I learned about men, the more I loved men, because what you're motivated by is beautiful. What you're motivated by is priceless. And women don't know that.
I want to go back to the two things that you brought up before, which were the types of attractions. Yes. Because men, you talk about two things here. You talk about a sexual attraction, and you talk about a sensual attraction. And the sensual being that comes, as you say, sensuality comes from focusing on the pleasures of your own senses that are delivering to you, where sexual attraction seems more like the outward mode of how you're appearing to a man?
Well, they're really related. The distinction we make is, in this book, is between the kind of attractiveness that a woman has that causes a man to want to bed her. For lack of a better way of putting it.
Perfect way.
Okay. We're on educational television, we'll put it that
perfect way.
Versus the kind of attractiveness a woman has that causes a man to want to protect her, to want to take care of her, to want to make her happy, what I call the goodies. And most women don't know that there are actually two different ways of being attractive that cause two very different experiences for a man. Specifically, when a woman is sexually attractive, she causes a kind of hunger in a man. When a woman is what I call charming and enchanting, it causes a man to want to give. So sexual attraction causes a man to want to take. Being charmed and enchanted causes a man to want to give. and it's a completely different mode for a man. And sensuality is actually one of the things that causes sexual attraction. And I was just talking to my friend about this yesterday. Why do women tend to be more sensual than men when men have a much more profound relationship to the physical than women do? Women are barely in their bodies, where men are quintessentially physical. And I realized it's because sensuality is based in receptivity. Being sensual is receiving pleasure, and receiving is not the domain of men. It's a feminine aspect, is receiving.
But you say that the biggest problem is when women aren't really in tune with that receiving, because what was it about happiness? I'm going to find this was so important about, here it is. We don't know how to receive from men. Mm-hmm. Men leave women they can't make happy.
Yes.
That's so important. Dig deep into that one, because as you said, the nature of a woman is the receptivity like that. But if a man feels that he's not making a woman happy, you literally say it's instant turn off. Instantly. It's just done.
Yes. Well, receptivity is a feminine quality. Unfortunately, between work and the women's movement and our culture, and that women are highly adaptive. Women without even thinking about it will become whatever's valued. What's valued in our culture is productivity. So women have become masculinized. So even though receptivity is quintessentially feminine, most women have lost touch with their femininity. So they become lousy at receiving pleasure, receiving gifts, receiving compliments, receiving care, receiving attention. We've just become lousy at it. We're being men, we're being the providers instead of the receivers, which doesn't leave men any room to be men. It's why most men feel so emasculated, because there's no room to be a man, which is provided by a woman being receptive to all the gifts that you have to give. So
you look because of my face. I know every time we talk, I go, oh, that explains it.
That explains it. So one of the biggest things women don't know is how much men are compelled to make women happy, and even how much a man judges himself by his ability to make a woman happy. That when a man makes a woman happy, it makes him feel successful. It makes him feel like, I'm good enough. I'm enough. I brought enough. I'm sufficient. I mean, it causes this entire experience of life for a man when he makes a woman happy. And so few women will let men make them happy.
You said you were talking to a friend just the other day with my wife. I'm sitting there, and it is, she's a specialist. She's never needed to attend. My wife. She doesn't need to attend these courses. She just was born with this in her.
Yes.
And when you're absolutely right, there's nothing like the approval of your wife, your woman, your that approval. It so outshines the biggest raise, the biggest whatever the buddy could say to you.
Yes.
Nothing matters as much as, boy, that is so coming from the person you are involved with like that.
And women don't know that. Women don't know how much we mean to men, how much our belief in you matters, how much our admiration matters, how much our love matters, how much our willingness to let you give to us and make us happy and make us joyful and even give us pleasure. Women don't know how much that means to men, and when women find that out, and this was definitely true for me, it was the beginning of letting it happen. And I had to try it. Well, so I'll let you, all right, you just made me happy. I'm actually going to let you know that you made me happy, and then I'm going to watch and see what happened. Wow, it's true, and after time after time after time of women realizing you can trust men. You can trust men to want you to be happy. You can trust men to want to give you what you need. And then there's a kind of relaxed, I live in a world surrounded by people who, of your gender, who are delighted to take care of me. And that's my life. That's my world.